So surrendering everything to the Lord. This is on page number 97. Mataji, you want to read?
Surrendering everything to the Lord. Regarding complete self-surrender, there is a nice description in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 29th chapter, verse 34, where the Lord says, "A person who has completely surrendered unto me and has completely given up all other activities is protected by me personally, both in this life and in the next." In other words, I wish to help him become more and more advanced in spiritual life. Such a person is to be understood as having already achieved Sastri. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that as soon as a person surrenders unto the lotus feet of Krishna, Krishna takes charge of him and gives him a guarantee of protection from all sinful reactions. He also instructs from within so that the devotee may very quickly make advancement towards spiritual perfection. This self-surrender is called Atma-Nivedana. According to different authorities, self is differently defined. Self is sometimes considered to refer to the spirit self or soul, and self is sometimes considered to refer to the mind or to the body. Full self-surrender therefore means not only surrendering oneself as spirit soul, but also surrendering one's mind and body to the service of the Lord. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur has sung a nice song in this connection. While offering himself as a fully surrendered soul, he said, "My mind, my household affairs, my body, whatever is in my possession, my dear Lord, I offer to you for your service. Now you can do with them as you like. You are the supreme possessor of everything. So if you like, you can kill me, or if you like, you can give me protection. All authority belongs to you. I have nothing to claim as my own." Sri Yamunacharya, in his prayers to the Lord, has expressed a similar idea in the following words. "My dear Lord, I may be living within somebody as a human being or as a demigod, but whatever mode of life, I do not mind, because these bodies are simply byproducts of the three modes of material nature, and I, who am in possession of these bodies, am surrendering myself unto you." In the Hari Bhakti Viveka, there is a statement regarding how one can offer his body in self-surrender. There, the devotee says, "My dear Lord, as a soul animal has no need to think about his maintenance and sustenance, so because I have given up my body and soul unto you, I am no longer concerned with my maintenance and sustenance." In other words, one should not bother about his personal or family maintenance or sustenance. If one is actually surrendered in body and soul, he should always remember that his only concern is to be engaged in the service of the Lord. Srila Rupa Goswami says that devotional service in friendship and devotional service in self-surrender are two different processes. Difficult processes. Therefore, such relationships with the Lord can very rarely be seen. Only the advanced devotees are these two processes easily executed. The purport is that it is very rare to see surrender which is mixed with sincere ecstatic devotion. One must give himself completely to the will of the Lord.
So what are the points here?
We must fully surrender everything and to be used as the Lord desires, and we should not have any hesitation at all in giving up our full surrender to the Lord. Once we do that, then Krishna takes control and guides us.
Where is this sitting, Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, Tatum.
Everyone knows that?
this morning in Srimad Bhagavatam class also Bhakta Prabhu was highlighting that we should be like the dog who controls the sheep. And
what are the dogs? I was thinking of that. Which dog was it? Kelpie dog.
Kelpie.
Kelpie dog.
Kelpie dog. Everyone heard that class?
Yeah, Kelpie dog.
This morning? You heard that? I heard from home. Yeah, go ahead. You can tell that example.
Bhakta Prabhu was explaining that we should be like a Kelpie dog. We've got our tulsi neck beads, and that is showing that we are the servant of our spiritual master, and we are getting the power from Srila Prabhupada. So we should be, the aim should be just to please our spiritual master and carrying his orders, his instructions, and that is how the Kelpie dog is always getting the inspiration. He doesn't want a big meal or anything else, but just a pat on the back that I'm able to please my master.
Everyone heard that? Bhakta Prabhu was saying our consciousness should be like that dog. So, yeah, any other points?
Mistake. So dasyam and surrender, is it different? Is it different? So we're not talking dasyam, because previous heading was devotional service and friendship. Now the next one that is coming is full surrender. So it's different things.
Yeah, so the Navavida Bhakti is there, no? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Swaranam, Chanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Swakyam, Atmaniveda.
Okay, so is dasyam the same as full surrender? Is it?
Dasyam here means servant, being servant.
So it is the same thing.
Surrender means with mind, body, words, everything.
Okay. So are you struggling to find the difference between dasyam and surrender? No, not really. Now I was just thinking about how
I'll give you an
Shankar
example, if it helps. So dasyam means I am servant of Krishna. So the mood is always servant of Krishna. But Atma Nivedanam has got a slightly different component, full surrender. Servitorship has got one aspect, and dasyam is another. Atma Nivedanam is another aspect. Okay. So, for example, if you take the pastime of Krishna having a headache, okay, then what happens? You go to other devotees. Nobody was willing to, because everyone said, I am a servant. We may have that mood. I am a servant of the Lord. How can I give my dust? How can my dust go on his head?
So that dasyam and awe and reverence.
But Atma Nivedanam doesn't matter. Even if I get sinful reaction, doesn't matter. So you are even beyond.
Okay. So dasyam and love.
Everything is meant for the Lord only. In one sense, that is also dasyam. It's all intermingled. You can't just isolate in one sense.
Dasyam, I heard it actually pervades in all other 9 processes.
Exactly. Dasyam is the base for Kirtanam also pervades in all other 9 processes. So all processes are intertwined. So they are not silos.
So there is the processes and the moods as well. And moods of service and the processes of service. There dasyam comes there also, dasyam comes here also.
Dasyam comes there also. So dasyam comes in. Dasyam comes in Dasya Ras also, and Dasyam comes as one of the Navavida Bhakti also. So here it is coming here after Dasyam is coming, after Sakyam they are mentioning about Atma Nivedanam. It is in the different processes there of devotional service, because there are 64 items are being discussed. So surrendering everything to the Lord. So Bali Maharaj is the best example of surrender to the Lord. Atma Nivedanam. So in ISKCON we have sannyasis are known as Tridandi sannyasis. You know that? Ekadandi and Tridandi. So So our sannyasis are known as Tridandi sannyasis. Why they are called as Tridandi sannyasis?
Mind, body, soul are being surrendered.
Mind, body and soul. To represent that. BMW. Body, mind and words. BMS. Body, mind and soul. So the Tridandi of the sannyasis represent that they have no other desire. Their life has no other purpose except to serve the disciplic succession or serve the Lord by serving the instructions that come down through disciplic succession. So actually surrender actually means practical surrender. Surrender is not a theoretical concept. Like yesterday somebody was saying, their Bhaktivedanta program, I think Mataji was saying, Mataji was saying, somebody saying that मैं राम भक्त हूँ, मैंने राम शरण ले लिया है. You are saying, which is good, but it is usually even if someone surrenders to the Lord, the person will not say, मैं तो बाबा surrender हो चुका हूँ. People won't talk like this. A person who is surrendered will not say, I am a surrendered soul. Please, I am surrendered soul. So surrender is not about lip service. Surrender will show in the person's activities. Surrender will show in the person's sadhana, seva and sadachara. Surrender will show best when we are faced with adversities. That time our surrender will be tested. Surrender actually means our level of surrender will show in how we face adversities. Even Radhanath Maharaj once mentioned that it will be shown in the most trying circumstances. When everything is nice in life, then our surrender will not be tested. When something is, a stake in the ground, if you like. So that time our surrender will be tested. Surrender will also show in how we cooperate, even when our view is not prevailing. But the very fact that we are in the service of Krishna is enough to joyfully participate in something, even if we don't have, our view doesn't get the upper hand, or then we are not prominent in that activity. At the end of the day, surrender to Krishna means surrender to senior devotees. Surrender to the instruction of the spiritual master. That is what is surrender. So the surrender is not tested till problems come in our life. There comes a time in our life, in all our life, maybe it might have come in somebody's life, it might not have come in somebody's life. There comes a point in time in life when we take a step back and look at our own life, and in any situation that we are currently going through, then we know how much faith we have in the Lord's plan for our lives. So at that time, we come to know where we are. Everyone will come to know where we are. Nobody externally needs to certify and tell us whether we are surrendered or not. We will ourselves come to know that. Only when it comes to adversity. Otherwise it will not. Job is going on fine. Health is fine. पैसा आ रहा है बैंक में. पोता पोती आ गई है लाइफ में. Grandchildren and daughter and grandson has come. Retirement plans are made. Everything is nice. Pension is coming. At that time, surrender is not tested. मैंने राम का शरण लिया है या मैंने कृष्णा का शरण लिया है is not tested at that time. But when something goes wrong, at that time, how we react, how we behave, how much our faith is, everything will be tested. So surrendering means accepting the will of the Lord in our life. Aligning with the plan that Lord Krishna had in our life. Surrender means being able to read His hand, being able to understand His design, that something is going on here. There is something that is, at the end of the day, what does the Lord want? He wants to finish our material life. Like somebody, today, one of the temple presidents in Australia, Sitaram Lakshman, he gave a very nice, he paid his respects to Anirudh Prabhu on his birthday. He gave a nice offering to Anirudh Prabhu, saying that thank you Anirudh Prabhu for finishing my material life.
Destroying.
Destroying my material life. Okay. So sometimes the Lord may deal severely with us to make us realize how dependent we are on Him. More comfortable we are, less dependent we are on the Lord. For example, Govind Prabhu tells in one class, I would request all of you to hear this class called as Atma Nivedanam. Govind Prabhu has given this class. This is in ISKCON Desire Tree, you will find it under Summer Tranquil series. It's a very nice class. So he mentions there in one of the, in Marathi, he says, Sheti Uttam Vyapar Madhyam Nokri Adham. He mentions that. This is popular saying in Marathi. Why Sheti is Uttam? Why agriculture is higher? Sheti, sorry, I didn't explain what it is. Not all of you know Marathi. Sheti Uttam means agriculture is the highest occupation. In modern day, people will not agree. That's a different issue. But that is a fact of life. If the farmers go on strike, company may give any number of bonus to us, but we will not get apples in poles. So, Sheti Uttam, Vyapar Madhyam means next is trading, trade, and Nokri Adham means worst is going for a job. Even Bhagavatam says, people who work for someone else are Shudras. That's why we are all Shudras. Now the reason why, and then Govind would nicely explain, saying that in today's day and age, we are very much cut off in terms of the awareness of the fact that Krishna is the provider. We are cut off from that. Our life has become so artificial. When we open the tap, what comes? Water comes. When water doesn't come, then we will pray to Krishna. Because water is coming every day when I open the tap. Therefore I am thinking, and we think water coming from the tap is a wonder of mechanical engineering. How beautifully the turbine is working, and some pump is pumping from somewhere, and how beautifully the pipes have been designed. Building construction is very good quality. Taps are Jaguar taps, and water is coming from the tap. But if water is not provided by the Lord, then you may put Jaguar golden tap, platinum tap over there. But water will not come, only air will come. That's it. Okay? And we can imagine then what will happen to the world. With all our money, natural resources are not there. But we are so cut off from the reality. For example, when you go to the shop, for us, rarely we are in anxiety. When we go, for example, to buy fruits, are we in anxiety? Will I get bananas? We are not in anxiety at all. Because we know that we are taken for granted that I have the money. So with that money, I am going to the shop thinking that yes, I will get bananas because I have got money to pay for it. I will get bananas, right? But the farmer who is sowing the seed by which banana tree will come, for him, he cannot sow $10 inside the soil. For him, he has to depend on the Lord. He has to pray somewhere that may the rains come, may the earth produce bananas. No technology has got any control over that process, right? But that's why, because we are not in agriculture, we are so far off from that reality, we can't see that. For us, everything is ready-made coming at home. Milkman is coming and delivering milk. In India, they deliver at home. Here we go to cold. India, it makes us even more lazy. Here at least you have to go to the shop. Doodh wala doesn't come in Australia. There, doodh is coming into your house directly in the morning. But just you have to open the door, and then one day I remember, my father was very upset. Abhi tak doodh de laya. You open the door at 7 o'clock in the morning and you expect two sachet. It's all taken for granted. Whereas for that person who is milking the cow, For him, he is a dependence. Oh cow, please give milk. He can't go anywhere. He has to beg to the cow. And if cow doesn't eat grass, it's not going to give milk. So the grass has to come on the ground. So we are not able to see Sarva Karana Karana. We are not able to see the thread. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Mayi Sarvam Idam Protam Sutre Manigana Iva. Which is that verse?
7.7.
Matta Parantaram Nanya Kischidasti Dhananjaya. Mayi Sarvam Idam Protam Sutre Manigana Iva. Means what? He says that if a necklace is there, everyone sees, oh, what a beautiful necklace. Kahan se liya? Zaveri se liya. People will ask you like that. What is that? Tribur Mandas, Bhimji Zaveri. No? Everybody will look at the necklace, but nobody will think that without the thread, the necklace will all fall apart. Nobody will say, what a thread is connecting these necklaces so beautifully. Because that is invisible. The thread which is connecting everything together is invisible. So we don't even think of that, and therefore we don't know the concept of surrender. That is why people like us, or like Prabhupada's language, rascals like us, will only surrender when our education, our money, our position fails to give us an outcome that we want. Only then we will surrender. Most of us, I don't know how many of us came to Krishna Consciousness in distress. I came in distress. How many of you came because you were in distress? Gajendra was, your leg was under the Gajendra. So many of us come to Krishna Consciousness in distress. Distress means not necessarily that, a crocodile is, chewing your leg. Not necessarily like that. Or you are hanging from a cliff or something like that. No. It means that we came to Krishna Consciousness because the material world did not give us happiness. At some point in time we realized, maja nahi aa raha, material life. Correct? So we have come to Krishna Consciousness. So surrender has got many aspects. There are 6 aspects to surrender. What are 6 aspects? First is Anukulyasya Sankalpa. Second is Pratikulyasya Varjana. Then third, Rakshishiti sa Vishwaso. Then Goptratve Varnam Tatha. Then Atma Nikshepa Karpanya Sadvidi Sharanagati. So first is Anukulyasya Sankalpa, which means accept all items which are favorable for devotional service. Now what is the most favorable for devotional service? What is the most indispensable item in devotional service in Kali Yuga? Chanting the holy names of the Lord. So somebody says, मैं तो पापा surrendered हूँ. Chant करो ना. नहीं, chanting करने का जरूरत नहीं है. मेरे को I know. No, if someone is talking like that, then you know that the person is not surrendered. Surrender means that I am surrendering to the instructions of people who are more self-realized than me. Not that मैं अपने जिद पे अड़ा हुआ हूँ. No, I think that I know everything. And I don't need to ask anyone. I have worked my way out. Like many times, even in my family, when we ask, people say, it is not in our family tradition to chant. Then I ask them, is it in our family tradition to take alcohol? Is it in our family tradition to watch television and watch T20? When you are doing all these things, you are not saying this is not in our family tradition. When we ask you to chant, you are saying it is not in the family tradition. So what is the family's tradition? There is only one family tradition. What is it? Everyone wants to enjoy. Material enjoyment is every family's tradition. Grandfather also must have done, great grandfather must have also done. Right? All jivas want to enjoy their senses. So when we come out of all these concepts by accepting the shelter of the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master in a disciplic succession, then that is the first symptom of surrender. So first symptom of surrender means accepting that I don't know anything, I am a fool, and being receptive to the instructions of realized souls. Otherwise there is no surrender. Till that time there is no surrender. If we are not chanting, that means we have not surrendered. हम लोग कुछ भी बोलेंगे, नहीं हमको पता है, तुम लोग ये चैंटिंग करता है, ISKCON वाला लोग है, ये सब जरूरत नहीं है, उसका फैमिली में नहीं है, हम लोग में ऐसा नहीं होता है. हम लोग में मैं तुम कौन हो तुम? The question is, हम लोग, when we say, who are you? हम लोग कौन है? Maximum you will say that I am Kathiawadi. Something like that you will say. उधर तक जाएगा ना, मुल्ला की दौड़ मस्जिद तक. Where will your identity go up to? नहीं मैं तो पोरबंदर से हूँ और I will say I am from Salem in Tamil Nadu. उधर तक ही जाएगा ना. और उससे ज़्यादा क्या आइडेंटिटी है अपना? हम लोग में नहीं होता है ऐसा. तो who are you? And who is this हम लोग? Because the very concept of हम लोग में नहीं होता है means I am thinking that I am from state of this world. I am from some state of some country and some city, and then I am some caste, and in that caste someone did not do. Therefore, whatever my caste does is the right thing. That is the mindset of everyone. Okay. So to break that mindset and tell them that look, it's not about your caste. It's not about my caste also. It's about what the scriptures say, what the acharyas have been saying. It's what's coming down from Lord Krishna directly. So read the scriptures and accept the process of how to do bhakti. Otherwise what will happen? We will invent our own method of bhakti. Like for example, there is, many people go to the temple and everything is very nice. Saadi bhi acha hai, sir mein what is it? ऐसा पल्लू भी बांध के जाएंगे, and then ताली वाली बजाएंगे, and then they will sing very loudly. सुख संपत्ति घर आवे, जय जगदीश हरे. Okay, and people will say, ये तो हमारा फैमिली का ट्रेडिशन है, हम लोग सब लोग मंदिर जाते हैं, every week हमारा सबका बहुत मानते हैं हम लोग. किसको मानते हो? नहीं, हम लोग कृष्णा को मानते हैं. क्या प्रे करते हो? सुख संपत्ति घर आवे. No, is this surrender? Is this surrender? And then you ask them, अगर सुख संपत्ति घर में नहीं आए तो क्या करोगे? जाओगे क्या उधर? Then obviously then they are not used to someone asking them that question. सुख संपत्ति नहीं आएगा, कृष्णा फिल काम से तेरे को ऐसा कंगा लगूंगा पूरा जिंदगी. Surrender करेगा? Nobody will surrender. So surrender is not about some sentiment or just expressing gratitude for whenever the Lord provides, then I will be very thankful to Him. Whenever He doesn't provide, then I may think, ये है भगवान है या नहीं है. This is generally mentality. That is not surrender. Surrender means like Bhaktivedanta Thakur here. It's written, no? What is this mood? मारो भी राखो भी ये इच्छा तो मान. Whether you keep me, राखो भी या मारो भी राखो भी जो इच्छा तुम्हारी. You treat me. आश्लिष्य वा पादरताम पिनस्तु माम. The most dreaded verse of, in one sense, for all of us. Treat me in whichever way you want, because I am your unconditional servant, my dear Lord. Birth after birth, जन्म जन्म के लिए. Whichever way you treat me, in whichever योनि मैं जन्म लूँ, कैसा भी तुम मुझे रखो, still I am surrendered to you. My whole life is only for your satisfaction. And that is why surrendered souls do not even seek liberation. Who seeks liberation? If you ask me today whether I want liberation, I will be the first one in the queue for liberation. Because we are fed up of material life. We don't want to come back again. Today I was talking to one devotee who is writing 12th standard exam this year. And I asked her, I'm sure you are waiting for it to get over. She said, yes, Prabhu. Like that. 12th standard exam. It's the most painful thing on earth for a student. Right? Full family is looking at, everyone is asking you, what score did you get? Then everyone is going for 50 tuitions here and there, coaching class. The whole life is complicated, even for children. Right? And by the time they finish 12th, we can ask, Raji, you have finished 12th, do you want to take again? Go through the years again? Now you will have to go through again if you come back into this material world. In the human body. Right? Right? फिर से जन्म लिया, अगर मनुष्य जन्म मिला, in fact, that's what I was telling in one class. I heard in one lecture that one doctor out in GS Medical College, where our preaching is going on in Bombay, he was looking at a dog. बोलता है कितना खुश है ये, तो कोई एग्जाम नहीं है. And I have to study for my MBBS. 5 साल बैठ के एग्जाम पे एग्जाम, and 80 KT system in Bombay, allowed to keep term. Your subjects keep on accumulating till you hang yourself. Correct? Even today I get nightmares. I am getting 80 KT in theory of machines because that was my dreaded subject. Even now I am getting that. And then we all go outside the university. Pass ho gaya, pass ho gaya. First you have to see whether you got 40 or not. Then you will see whether you got 60 or whatever. First is 40. Red man aana chahiye. And then to think that we will get another lifetime to go through all that education and system and all that experience, all those expectations of parents, of relatives, and then again coming all the way, working for your IELTS, PR and citizenship, again that mortgage, the loan and... So is human life very relishable? Obviously not. But then if you ask someone, acha theek hai, okay, human life mein itna theek hai, okay, be born as a dog, you don't have to write exam. Then that also people don't want. Nahi dog nahi, theek hai, 12th likhta hu, dog nahi likhe. Right? Obviously, even if you are a dog, then better to be born in Australia, not in India. Municipality van or BMW car. Dog travels in BMW here. Correct? But still it is not a glorious life. So we don't want animal life also. We don't want human life also. In one sense, if you are given an option today, nobody wants to come back into this material world. Because Kali Yuga is going to get worse and worse only from now. From this point on. Correct? It's going to get worse and worse. Even if someone says next lifetime you will be born in Australia, chalo PR ka chakkar hi nahi hai. Bachpan se hi citizen. Do you want? We don't know where we are born, and then you will see separation. There's no joint family system here anyway, right? So wherever we don't want to be born, in short. But a fully surrendered soul does not even think like that. Just now we took us through a journey of our own thinking. Fully surrendered soul says, "Maro bhi, rakho bhi, ye acha." So wherever you put me, you make me, Bhaktivedanta Thakur actually says, you make me a dog somewhere, I don't have a problem. You give me anything, but let me always be in your service. Now that's a very high prayer. It's a very high level of prayer. We can't imitate such prayers. At our level, we may seek liberation. When we seek liberation, obviously as devotees, we will not seek impersonal liberation. We want to go back to Godhead, right? All of us. But a pure devotee does not even have that kind of a desire. At the highest level, highest prayer is, it doesn't matter whether you take me back to yourself or... Obviously, the pure devotee wants to go back to Godhead, no doubt about that, to be with Krishna all the time. But for them, serving Krishna is more important than proximity to Krishna. Proximity to Krishna is called as what? Salokya Mukti. There are many types of Mukti, which we saw. Salokya Mukti means proximity to the Lord, always Bhagavan ke paas. So they don't want to be like that. If you see, some of Prabhupada's disciples also are like that. They have shown a lot of surrender. Many of them were never near Prabhupada. Here we are always thinking, Maharaj kab aa rahe hain? And then the next question will be, who is cooking? Who will be driving Maharaj? Who will be reading out? Who will be coordinator? The go-to man, through who we have to go to Maharaj. And then the moment we get those powers, then something goes wrong with our behavior with everyone. We forget everything after that. Till Maharaj takes the flight and goes back, then people come down to the... But when Maharaj comes, then we forget. Our behavior is very artificial, like that for those few days. We are slightly authoritarian, like that. Intolerant of others, like that. It happens like that. You've seen little bit of high-handedness, condescending. You know what is condescending, right? Like I am the boss here now.
But how can you please everyone at the same time maintain the order? It's a difficult position.
Maintaining order is different. And being condescending is different. You don't have to be condescending to maintain order. We forget being affectionate. That's what I'm mentioning.
So
we have to do the right things. If Maharaj says, don't allow anyone for the next 1 hour, I'm taking a rest, doesn't mean, Prabhu, go inside, Prabhu. No, not like that. I'm not talking about being servile. I'm talking about being firm but affectionately firm. Being affectionate.
Okay.
That is very important. If we are not affectionate with devotees, do you think Krishna will be happy with our service? There has to be affection in every dealing. If there is no affection, better not to deal. And our whole sadhana is to make us become affectionate individuals. Even in our preaching, we will be successful not by quoting Sanskrit shlokas. We will be successful in our preaching if we are affectionate to others. Why do we like our spiritual masters? Because they can recite Sanskrit shlokas. Why do you like Jayapataka Swami Maharaj?
He's very compassionate.
He is very affectionate. Correct? No? Compassion means affection. He shows affection. No? Why you like VedaBase Priya Maharaj? Affectionate. Maharaj comes and deals very affectionately with all of us. Now why do we think that we need not do that? And still we say, no, I am surrendered to Maharaj. Surrendered to Maharaj means then we have to try and become like that. When we say, I am also in that. It's not that I am sitting on a pedestal and talking. This is discussion, we are churning the topic in this room. So for me also, at some point in time we have to take a step back from theory and look at practical. We have in this room, all of us know enough to go back to Godhead. We all know enough to go back to Godhead. You don't really have to read, some Manjari Tattva books and all that. Even when we read, we will not understand at this point in time. Our whole struggle is to become affectionate people. Our whole struggle is to become simple-hearted. That is where our problem is. Our whole struggle is to become non-envious people. Okay. So which is what we were discussing. We were saying that at a point in time, we take a step back from everything that we are doing, कुछ दिन छुप जाने का फिक्र करने का, and खुद के बारे में सोचने का कि मैं कहाँ हूँ, where I am supposed to go. It's a high standard to go back to Godhead. And where am I today? Because when we keep on doing, we don't spend time introspecting. We are in the thick of activities. Oh, Janmashtami aa gaya, chalo, that. One after the other activity. Yes, I am not saying we should not be busy with it. In fact, our full life we should be busy with activities. But if we only do activities, okay, and don't and keep and through those activities, then we are not developing simplicity and affectionate natures, compassion. Then it is very difficult for us to go back to Godhead. That is why the verse is very beautiful. Vasudeve Bhagavati. Which is the verse which says Shamay Dharmam Swanishtita Pumsam Vishwaksena Kathasuya Na Utpade Vediratim Shamaye. No matter whatever big projects we may do, if through doing those activities we are not developing more rati or attachment to Krishna, then such activity is useless waste of time. Very good. So any activity has to generate rati. If rati is not developed, then such activities are simply a waste of time. Prabhu, take a chair.
How do we get into the area of putting this into practicality? You said what happens is, let's say you know that the problems will come and go because you know that these are like summer and winter. And the problem, all the problems or the happiness or distress is like changing weathers.
Correct.
So you know the verse, and when the problem comes, you know that verse is there as you go. But practically it's still disturbed. And it's still bothering the mind as if this is going to stay forever. How do you get to that point when it comes into the real practicality? One thing somebody told me was that we are like child into learning the practical side. That it's okay to be bothered initially. It will take a lot of practice, and Krishna gives all these troubles because so that we become more experienced. Is there anything else as well which we can use to actually make this knowledge practical rather than just theoretical?
Yeah. So last class we discussed a bit of it. Remember, Bhakti starts with faith. Again, we will go back to the basics. Let's take the gym example. Body बढ़ाना है, So what do? Exercise. To do exercise, what do we need? We need some strength to lift the dumbbell. Right? So the basic strength Krishna will provide to lift the dumbbell. And then by doing those dumbbells, then what develops? That same strength develops. That same strength which helped us lift the dumbbell will now help develop more strength to lift bigger dumbbells. Right? So Bhakti starts with Shraddha. So with little bit Shraddha, we start our Krishna consciousness. But we have to understand, that is why it's very important to understand that Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asati, Bhava, Prema is not necessarily to be seen in that order. It is to be seen in this order. Like a graphic equalizer, you remember that example which I have always been telling. So it's not that Bhajana Kriya chalu ho gaya to Shraddha complete ho gaya Prabhu mera. It's not like that. Abhi class 1 ho gaya, I have graduated now Prabhu to Bhajana Kriya stage. No. I have graduated to Sadhu Sangha stage. वो तो श्रद्धा तो बहुत पीछे छोड़ दिया मैंने 2-3 साल पहले हो गया श्रद्धा. It's not like that. We think like that, but it is not like that. That Shraddha will go on increasing as we do Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha. So at Nishtha means what? Nishtha is the platform where our consistency is tested. Nishtha is the platform of being consistent. Right? We want Krishna to be predictable to us. Are we predictable to him today? At least I am not. Right? I am not predictable today. My sadhana is not predictable. Yeah, maybe yes, I am compliant. I am doing 16 rounds as prescribed by the scriptures. But am I predictable? Am I doing it in the morning? Am I finishing? Okay. Again. See the words. The choice of words itself. Am I chanting in the morning? Even when we say, am I finishing a round in the morning? Am I chanting at all? Or have I been finishing rounds year after year? Day after day, am I just finishing rounds? Oh, when will the time come when I will chant? Right? So, that faith is a reward which will come by our sincere efforts to chant. Not even by saying, I'm not even saying perfect chanting. That reward may not come by perfect chanting, because Krishna is Bhavagreh. He is not looking at how perfectly we do something. He will only look at the effort we take to do something perfect. So, that faith will come with our endeavor. It will not come with many of faith. Shraddha will not come without effort. Shraddha will come only with effort. So the only adhikar we have, karmaneva adhikarasya maphaleshu kadacham. So the only thing that we have in our sphere of influence is to do some activity sincerely, keeping Krishna in the center of that activity. It's easier said than done. For example, yesterday, somewhere I heard this. Somebody asked, what is the most important thing in Krishna consciousness? And Maharaj said, Krishna.
Easy question.
I thought that was an amazing answer. Correct? How many times have we, for example, there is a big Pandal program that is happening, Janmashtami, for example, is happening. Everyone is running around with different responsibilities. In all this ocean of work, who do we forget? Krishna. It's very easy actually. It's very easy to be in the thick of activities in Krishna consciousness and forget Krishna. Prabhuji, Prabhuji, we talk like that, no? Sometimes. अरे यार कहाँ से पता नहीं senior devotees लोग भी ऐसा आ जाते हैं. Something like that. We go on talking all these things without realizing. Just imagine if that man is standing with a flute next to you and then he is looking at you and you are saying, पता नहीं senior devotees लोग भी ऐसा जाते हैं. And Krishna will say, I'm very pleased with you today, with your service. Actually, do you think it's going to happen? Yeah. With our moods and with our behaviors, with our devotional service in the mode of passion that we do, we really start thinking that Krishna is going to be. So if we actually start thinking, every word we say, every action we do, is Krishna going to be pleased with this? at this moment is he pleased with me? Last 5 minutes मैंने जो किया, is Krishna going to be pleased with that? You know, if we keep checking that, that is that introspection. We have to keep checking our intentions also. Sometimes our activities will be pakka, perfect. But Krishna doesn't see the activities, which means you have given a fantastic Bhagavatam class. People have said, प्रभु बहुत इंस्पायर हो गया मैं, बहुत सच में बोलता हूँ प्रभु, आपका क्लास सुन के ना इतना इंस्पायरिंग लगा प्रभु, आज बहुत टाइम के बाद प्रभु कभी है नेक्स्ट क्लास आपका? And then you are thinking, I haven't done bad, right? And then the next class you go, what thought comes to your mind? आज भी कोई तो बोलेगा मुझे पक्का, कोई तो ऐसा क्लास दूंगा, ऐसा क्लास दूंगा. 4-5 लोग तो आगे बोलना चाहिए, प्रभु बस आप ही हो. What is that song in Hindi? तू ही रे, तू ही रे, तेरे बिना क्या होगा मेरा. ऐसा 4-5 लोग बोलना चाहिए, अच्छा लगता है. Krishna consciousness is so blissful, no, Prabhu? But what is that bliss you are getting? Not by the service, but by the benefits, the side things which are coming because of the frills of the service set. Which is what is Madhurya Kadamini Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Puja, Pratishtha, etc., etc. come. You know? They take you away from the real. They take you away from the real nectar that you can otherwise derive. And it's like, the company is not giving you salary anymore, but they are giving you some other things. They are telling you, okay, every day, I will serve idli dosa. At 7 o'clock dosa will be served to you. Achha, company dosa is very good, very good. Salary nahi aayega. It's almost like that. So this is that the frills which are coming, but the essence is not there. The essential bliss from Krishna consciousness which has to come, we are not tasting that. We are getting attached to all this, right? Therefore, how will our Shraddha develop then? If we are caught in this, how will our Shraddha develop? Because we are not even giving an opportunity to taste that nectar, which is the original product, not the byproduct. The original nectar. We are not allowing ourselves to taste that. And that is where we slowly start digressing. So that is why that constant introspection is required. Why am I doing something which I am doing? Okay. Yeah. Did I answer your question? Sorry.
I understand.
Yeah, so when we, probably I didn't fully answer, I'll conclude that. So when we, again, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's book, I sincerely request, please read that book, My Little Bhakti Companion. Amazing book. So he has written that you constantly keep doing that and Krishna will reward you with that faith. It will be rewarded, it will be awarded to us. The faith will be awarded more and more and more. So if we have not developed that faith, and when will we know when we have not developed that faith? Only in adversity. When everything is hunky-dory, test ही नहीं हुआ है. Some people will say ना, मेरा बेटा IIT लिखता था तो you would have been in Cornell University. तुम्हारा बेटा लिखा पास हुआ क्या IIT पहला? Did he subject himself to that examination in the first place? Then you can sit in an armchair and discuss so many things. So in Bhakti also, have we gone through those testing situations and come out with flying colors, with our faith intact? Maybe we have never been tested till now, or not even that kind of a test, where it is really tested. Thoda test hua hai, but not that. And maybe it was tested and the outcome was always positive. At the end, there must have been some test, but outcome positive hai. But what if there is a consistent negative outcome? For example, if somebody has to take His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj as an example today, has his health been improved? Are you sure? Yes means ठीक है, but overall what's happening? If you take a graph, where is his health? Going down. But is he impacted? No. Does he have hope that he will have a... No, do you really think? Medically I am saying, not spiritually. Medically, what is the hope that he will become the Jayapataka Swami Maharaj of yesteryears. Medically, I'm saying. Logically, if you take from a logical platform, actually there's nothing. It's not because it's just actually he's getting old and it's just deteriorating. But that has not dampened his enthusiasm. He's as good as he was. His consciousness has not got even impacted one bit. Again, going back, he wants to deliver the nurses there, the doctors there. He's thinking about others, even in that situation. So that is where we are being tested. And that is where our acharyas are showing us that our health, what if we have that health? We also suppose get a stroke tomorrow, brain stroke, something like that. Will we still be so enthusiastic in performing devotional service? Will we have the same level of faith in Krishna? Will we say that this is Krishna's mercy on me? I don't know. How many of us will say that? Right? So that is where our faith is. So how to reach that stage of what our acharyas? We have to reach that stage. Otherwise we are not going back. Right? To reach that stage, we have to simply do the basics sincerely. That's all. Again, I am talking to myself here. I am not answering your question. In one sense, I am talking to myself, reminding myself that I have to do the basics sincerely, without any other motive. Anya abhilasha shunyam. In any activity that we do, whether it is preaching or whether it is coordination activities, whether it is being a right hand to somebody senior, in any activity, we have to question our motives, right? Our desires. And when we do that, we will understand our own mind. Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says it's very important to talk to your mind. It's the mind, we have to identify what is the direction of the Paramatma and what is the direction of the mind. We have to be able to identify that very quickly. And we have to get into the habit of thinking like that. The mind bol raha hai or Paramatma bol raha hai? Paramatma will not guide us. Anything. And so when we do an activity, when we go back and look at it, we will come to know. Nobody has to tell us. We will know it. We will know it.
What if the mind is going elsewhere?
Prayer.
And you know that.
If the mind is going like that, we have to pray. We have to pray. Again, I am going back to the same thing which I have discussed earlier also. Our prayers are also not sincere. That is the problem. Actually, we are not praying. Can we go up to the Lord today and pray, Lord, please make me an insignificant servant of yours. सच में insignificant बना दिया तो मंदिर में आके कोई हरि बोल नहीं बोला तो nobody respects us तो what will happen? Will we be blissful? Hari Bol in Krishna Consciousness. That real nectar which is coming, that's good enough for me. I don't need Trinadapi Sunichena Taro Reva Saishnuna. Amanina Manajana Kitana. कोई भी respect नहीं करा तो भी I will be very happy in Krishna Consciousness. Just being servant of everyone. We are not. We can't. Think about it. We can't. We need somebody in the temple to respect us. We need somebody to love us. We need someone to acknowledge us. These are our needs. I'm not saying they are wrong needs, but they are our needs right now because we are where we are in Krishna Consciousness right now. They are our needs. Yes, we need a pat on the back. Good job. Somebody has to tell you. After we give a class, maybe one class nobody will appreciate. After 5 classes, somebody should say, Prabhu, आपका class अच्छा था. Otherwise, they are thinking, करूँ क्या सर्विस, दूसरा को सर्विस. And what if someone comes and gives advice him? क्या class देते हो यार? Somebody comes and tells you like that. So you can't talk like that in a class. Suppose someone comes you and gives you feedback. Prabhu, honest feedback I'm telling you, Prabhu. I think people can't connect to what you're speaking in the class. Suppose you say like that, then what will go? We will go into that other self-pity mode. I'm not qualified, Prabhu. Prabhu, better ना फिर. प्रभु बाकी लोगों को करने दो ना. अभी वो इतना अभी फीडबैक ऐसा गंदा दे रहे हैं तो फिर मैं क्यों करूँ? प्रभु बाकी लोगों को करने दो ना. ओके ना अभी क्या मंदिर का आता है दर्शन करके घर जाएंगे बस. अपने को इसमें से पढ़ने का नहीं. And we will start calling the feedback as politics because we can't take a feedback which hurts our comfort zone. Nobody dare come in that space of me and my false ego. Nobody dare remove it. So therefore, my dear Lord, don't take my prayer seriously when I say Trinada Pisunichana. Serious, दिल पे मत ले लेना वो prayer को. This दिन मैं तेरे को prayer बोलूँगा शिक्षाष्टकम दिल पे मत लो. And don't enable that. Because if you enable that, then what will happen to me? I will not be happy. So we have to really find in a congregation why we are very happy in Bhakti today. You have to question that. I'm not saying we should not be happy. It's a community, yes, it's natural to be happy in a community. But we should be able to do Bhakti even when we are in Siberia. Like, you read in the salted bread, which Prabhu was that, I forgot his name. Sarva Bhauma Prabhu and Sachi Sutta Prabhu, correct? Who used a toothpaste and applied tilak and then chanted in a jail when nobody was observing him and left his body. And somebody wrote a book. He did not even do all these things so that somebody will write a book on it later. ऐसा भी thought नहीं था. Who will observe somebody in a jail? Right? In salted bread if you have read that book. So when will we reach that stage? Where we are sold to Krishna. That is the platform here. Surrendering everything. Atmanivedam is a very high platform. Coming to that consciousness will require introspection, endeavor, and again introspection, again endeavor, again introspection, again endeavor, and it go on and go on. And then validation with senior devotees. Dadati Granati Guhyam Akyati Puchari. It has to happen. Guhyam Akyati has to happen. We have to discuss these things with some senior devotee who we trust. To open our heart, and if required, if some anartha is troubling us, open out and discuss, saying that what problem is. We have to discuss. Otherwise, we are not going to get there. Yep. Alright. So, first step in surrender is to start chanting. Chanting नहीं करेंगे तो then there is, you cannot say मैं कृष्ण भक्त हूँ और हमारे family में है and all. Bhakti is not just about keeping a nice altar. Does it make sense? Bhakti is not about making nice altar. Bhakti is about being amenable to instructions which are given by senior devotees. Being obedient to senior devotees. That is the first step in surrender. Not kukka manmani. Okay. So any points? And then there is Pratyakula Savarjanam. Of course, we all know that, so I am not belaboring those points. Anukulesa Sankalpa means, which is the verse which talks about Anukulesa Sankalpa in Nectar of Instruction. Utsahan, which is the verse which talks about Pratyakula Savarjanam. Atyahara Prayasa Chapajan Bodhi. And then we talked about Goptratya Varnan Tasa. We talked about that in the last, what's the time? 8:30. Okay. So in the last 1 hour or so we spoke about Goptratya Varnan Tasa, which is the example we took. Cheti Uttam Vyapar Madhyam Nokri Asam. We talked about that now. Krishna is the maintainer, he is the provider. We can't see it right now because we are cut off from the farm. Right? We saw that. Then Dakshishitisa Vishwasa, which is what we were discussing in one sense. That in adverse situations, having the faith that this is the design of the Lord. Unless we can see the design or the hand of the Lord, we can never be blissful in an adverse situation because we will consider it as a threat, not as an opportunity. So an adverse situation has to be seen as an opportunity, and it is easy to discuss it from a kurchi like this. It's difficult to be. We again going back to the basics. There are three things: knowledge, skills and values. Knowledge is to know Shastras. Skills means to be able to do the different things that are prescribed in the Shastras. And values means to be as mentioned in the Shastras. So to be is the most difficult. We can have knowledge about Kirtan, which meter should be sung, how the harmonium should be positioned, and we may have skills, excellent vocals, excellent fingers, or maske ke jaisa ja raha hai finger. Okay. But are we? Is the question. Who are we? That's our talent and skills. But what's our character? What's our personality? What's our sadachar? To be. So, a lot of emphasis in our life now, at this stage, has to really think on being. It's not important to just read Bali Maharaj and Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vinde or Vacham Siva Ikunta Gunan Varane. We can go on talking about all that. Okay? But can we be Bali Maharaj? How can take those small steps towards surrender? Which means you have to break down those goals. How should I change myself? Today, where am I struggling to be able to reach there? So all of us have to introspect that. And that, sometimes it comes at some stages of life. Like Shankar Maharaj was saying, where you suddenly, you see that hill in front of you. My God, I have so many anarthas. And when you see that hill, then it sobers you down in life. It will sober us down in life. बहुत मस्ती हो गई अभी बहुत बड़ा hill है to cross like that. And then when we see that hill of our own anarthas, automatically then our sadachar will improve, behavior will improve. Why? When does our behavior go down? When we become intolerant of others' imperfections. That's when our behavior goes down, correct? But when we are constantly meditating on the mountain of our own imperfections, then constantly when you are thinking like that, that is the worst here in this congregation, then at least our tongue will be checked in blaspheming other devotees. But that will only come by introspection. If we don't introspect, we will not progress in spiritual life. It's very simple. So we have to take a step back. We have to take a step back.
Going back to your discussion, to make our heart simple, practically how can we achieve that? Is it the same way you're saying?
Simple heart is avoided. Heart will become simple when anarthas goes away. Simple heart means what? Anartha everything, no?
Yes.
Simple heart means false ego component goes down. Correct? How will it go down? By chanting effectively, not by finishing rounds. Finishing rounds also it will go, because chanting, Prabhupada says chanting will work on us. But do we want chanting to work on us at 60 kilometers per hour, or do we want chanting to work at us at 800 kilometers per hour? That is the difference. So that will depend upon how we drive our chanting. Right? So that is where we have to focus. So chanting, and again that chanting will not be good if it is not supplemented with reading. Unless we take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, unless we have a habit of reading Srimad Bhagavatam, our chanting will never improve. 100%. It is not possible. Somebody is chanting very nicely and वो बोलता है नहीं मैं तो श्रीमद् भागवतम पढ़ता ही नहीं हूँ. Chanting अच्छे से हो रहा है. It will not happen. It cannot happen like that. Because the impetus to chant attentively has to come from our meditation on Krishna. We will not meditate on Krishna if Krishna is not inspiring us by his life. If we don't know what Krishna did, how can I meditate on anything about him? Why will he inspire him? For example, it's just like my grandmother watching World Cup cricket. She will never, everyone when Tendulkar comes to bat, everyone is saying, hey, chin. And my grandmother is just sitting and watching. She's just looking here and there and she's saying, coffee banao sabke liye? Something like that, you will get a statement. And then everyone is looking, Sachin batting ko hai, unko coffee ko. Something, you understand what I mean? Because she doesn't know anything about cricket. She doesn't know about the glories of the person, or it's actually simple. Someone from, for example, let us say, Tendulkar comes and sits on a flight, and we are from, let's say, Ethiopia. Udhar khane ke wande hain. Maybe I don't know who is Tendulkar. He is sitting next to me. I don't know anything about this personality. So, what is giving me that excitement about this personality? Nothing. Why should I converse with him? Why should I know about his life? If he says, I am a world famous cricketer, he'll say, what do you do in that game? There is a, what is that term? And then some wood is there and then you hit like a, chor se maarne. So if you have that understanding, then you will never. Can you meditate on Tendulkar then? Can you really appreciate him? So no. So therefore, our chanting will not pick up till we till we hear more and more about Lord Krishna. Our chanting will not improve. We will stagnate. If our reading and hearing stagnates, our chanting will stagnate. 100%. It will stagnate. 100% it will stagnate. And when our chanting stagnates, then there is nothing that is going to increase our faith in Krishna consciousness. Chanting stagnates means that we are not doing anything to progress in terms of attentively chanting. We are not doing anything. We cannot say, Prabhu, 16 rounds daily kar raha hu, Nishtha platform pe aaya hu. That is not Nishtha. That is compliance. Compliance with the basics of Krishna consciousness. In one sense, that is also Nishtha. I am not saying no to that. We are not completely turning a blind eye to the fact that is also good. That's not enough. Nishtha means our reading, hearing. Nishtha means consistently improving our graph in Krishna consciousness. This is not Nishtha. If our graph in Krishna consciousness is like that, it is not Nishtha. Graph has to go up. So our introspection needs to be consistent. Our plan of improvement needs to be consistent. Not that abhi ho gaya, pahunch gaya abhi, us mukam pe pahunch gaya hu main. It's not like that. Always we set higher and higher and higher and higher and higher goals. It has to be like that. Otherwise it will not work. And we need to spend that time with ourselves. We have to spend time understanding ourselves, our own mind.
So I just wanted to share that with the adversary, when the adversities in life come, it's actually the anartha nivritti is happening, and that will keep on happening until it's just like a game, like the virtual game, which like it's a computer game. If you have developed that characteristics, that anartha nivritti which is required, you go to the next stage. Like it's like a computer game. You go on to this level. You have done this, so then Krishna will say, okay,
next difficulty.
Now I'm giving you a higher level. Now let's see if you develop that anartha nivritti, what I want, humility. Gurujan Prabhu was saying the material world will keep on hammering you until unless you get the real humility. So, the same thing is happening, as you're chanting, you're progressing in spiritual life. The adversaries will come. This is the level of the game. You overcome that, you go to the next level. Because I used to ask this question, why the adversities in life are coming consistently. And after a long introspect, I could realize that it's just like a computer game. So now the same thing comes, and now I'm saying, I was really disturbed 5 years back. Now I'm going through the same thing, just piece of cake, no problems. So what I realized is I was talking to Rashmi, I said, just like a computer game. You have developed one level, Krishna will take you to the next level. You have developed that level, and then only you will come to this final surrender, because you are developing that surrender through adversities. Like you're saying, yes, what else can I do? So as long as you're relying on your own that I'm going to do this, let's work out a project plan 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not going to work. And then eventually will come, here I surrender, guide me, what can I do? Then you go to the next level. Yeah. So this is my introspect over so many years.
Yeah, it's a good example. Thank you, Guru. Okay, so the next one is offering a prayer. Who wants to read? Devashi wants to read. So you read.
I have waves of devotion.
You have waves of devotion.
Offering a favorite article.
In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th chapter, verse number 41, Lord Krishna tells Uddhava,
Bro, can you share your book with Prabhuji? And Mother, if you want to read this side, then somebody can share with you.
my dear friend, if someone offers me the best thing in his possession or anything which is pleasing to him, he will be eternally benefited.
We discussed this last class.
Yes.
So we'll not discuss this. Next one. Mother, आगे बढ़िए.
Performing all endeavors for Krishna. In the Narada Pancharatra, there is a statement of how one can act in all spheres of life for the satisfaction of the Lord. It is stated that a person who is actually in devotional service must be engaged in all kinds of activities, those prescribed in the revealed scripture, and also those which are accepted for livelihood. In other words,
Both of them.
not only should a devotee engage himself in the prescribed duties of devotional service, which are mentioned in the revealed scriptures, but he should also perform the duties of his practical life in Krishna consciousness. For example, a devotee who has a great establishment or factory may offer the fruits of such material possession for the service of the Lord.
Yeah. So this is all the more relevant for Grihasthas. What are the points here? Chandana Yatra Prabhu, you want to share your realizations on this? The turnings together.
Yeah, I feel like, as you mentioned about this, performing all the endeavors of Krishna is most critical. The thing is like, the example is given of electricity coming from the powerhouse. Now the electricity is coming from the powerhouse. Now it's burning the lamp here, and then it's also heating the room if it is a winter season, cooling if it is a hot season, and it's also heating the oven, also providing. Similar example it can be given, like in our phases we have different phases of our life. Where we have performed different duties in terms of Grihasthashram, most of us, then other ashrams also. Specifically in the Grihasthashram, we have to do our rounds. We have to do other devotional service. Then we have to also do the service towards our children also by giving them spiritual and also material education. The idea behind this example is like the power as it's coming from the source. It is used in different ways, but the source is the power which is coming. Similarly, our own endeavors should be used in service of Lord Shri Krishna. Not necessarily a person will do the Pujari service at that time, or not necessarily a person, like it depends on time, circumstances. But the idea is the center point has to be Krishna, like the center point in a garland with a thread. Similarly, but there are different types of flowers, different colors, different weight, different. The center is Krishna. So that is what the challenge is. But in my realization, I feel that association of devotees, especially in this age, is of great strength. Because if we are trying to practice Krishna consciousness on our own, without associating with the devotee, or have a perception that yes, I can do it by myself, possibly by doing devotion, that's not a great idea. We need, because when we see the people around us are on similar situations, they're starting schooling, everything, and work, then we get, and they are also practicing Krishna, we get a lot of.
Thank you, Prabhu. Any other point? Performing all endeavors for Krishna. Everyone is tired. Too much passion. No point. In other words, not only should a devotee engage in the prescribed duties of devotional service which are mentioned, but he should also perform the duties of his practical life in Krishna consciousness. So we have discussed this many times in the past in our talk, which are so we should not ignore our material family responsibilities also. Should not ignore that. In cleaning the temple, we should not forget that we should keep our house clean. For example. Right? In delivering the whole world, we should not forget to deliver our own dependents. Which sometimes is a mistake which we all do. Okay. So obviously, yeah. So, which also means that premature retirement, it's very important to be financially sound before taking to retirement. Now, financially sound doesn't mean that there is a dollar figure which we have to reach. But being financially sound means that what is the bare minimum needs that I have in life. So we are not attacking the revenue side, we are attacking the needs side. If we attack the revenue side, sky is the limit. We will never be happy in this life with any salary. Where by simplifying our life, by simplifying our material wants and desires, only then we can progress towards retirement. Otherwise we cannot. Nothing is, it is just like a water in the desert. More you drive, more it will be away from us. So therefore, as we approach 50, Vanaprastha, we have to start seriously thinking, and that doesn't come in one day. It will not come on 29th of December, one day before our Vanaprastha stage comes. It has to be a preparation gradually, which has to start much before that. Like in our Srimad Bhagavatam, canto, 9th canto, one should retire at 50. Canto. That was an essay topic. I had chosen that topic only. It was one of my favorite topics. I had the opportunity to think about that topic, study something and write an essay on that. As I was thinking, retirement at 50 is not an activity which has to be done at 50. It has to be done. For example, if you are from IT line, if you have a go live date on 30th of September 2015, it doesn't mean suddenly something is going to happen on that day. It means you have to probably plan 2 years ahead for that project. Or if you have something to be commissioned, if you are in turnkey projects, something has to be commissioned. Jamnagar plant has to start producing, refining crude oil. It will not happen on that date. It happens years before that. One Dhirubhai Ambani is sitting there is thinking, okay, on this date, from this date, it will start pumping out this product out of my refinery. That has already started long back. And the preparation towards that, there's a whole lot of planning, there's a whole lot of design, there's a whole lot of purchasing activities. So many activities go, and then finally one fine day that thing starts pumping. So retirement is not, or simplifying material life is not going to come, is not something which we have to think at 50. At 50 we have to attain that outcome, but the preparation for that has to start much before that. And that takes long time, especially if we have, because we don't know what backgrounds we have come from previous lives and what all desires we have accumulated even in this lifetime. So that practice has to start well in the beginning. So therefore, if we end up in a situation at 50 where our material desires are still there, but our finances are not there, and then we are in Mayapur, God help us after that. Does it make sense? What to do? So that's why it's very important. For example, if you see Asita Devaki, it's a good example in this communication. Made his financial planning comfortable, Mayapur. No problem. But not everyone who has gone there has planned life like that. Or another successful example is Radha Vallabha Prabhu, who has gone to Mayapur. Now Radha Vallabha Prabhu and Asita Prabhu, their retirement has got two different patterns. Right? Asita Prabhu's pattern of retirement is, yes, now I am so comfortable financially, I have done my duties, everything is pakka, I know where all income is going to come from. So now I am going to fully plunge. Not that I am going to sit and enjoy that income now and to build, live in the comfortable palatial house that he had here. No. He is living in an apartment in Mayapur. Okay. But he is using all that resources now to dedicate more and more time in serving Krishna, serving the devotees, without having to worry about himself. Only if we are ourselves tottering, then how can we help others? So he has first thought that, and then that's one pattern of retirement. Another pattern is another, which is very different. There, it was not based on financial planning. His retirement is entirely in one. It's not even called. I can't call it as retirement in one sense, but yes, retirement in another sense, because there is a job in Commonwealth Bank. Commonwealth Bank.
Yeah.
Then there is a vision. No. Let me use my talents. He wanted to change his career. His original career was what? Interior design. Architecture or something like that. But here he was in a bank, doing something else, customer front ending. So he said, if I have to do this, can I dovetail this desire? Can I perform this endeavor? Can I dovetail my aptitudes in Krishna service? What better opportunity than to go to Mayapur at a time when architects are required there? So it was a different kind of retirement in one sense. Both are in Mayapur. Both are out of active material life, but in different ways. So yes, there are multiple ways in which one can retire in that sense. Does it make sense? But the common platform is that when we go there, then we are able to always have time to help others, which is a great quality of Radha Vallabha Prabhu. No matter how busy he is, he will still pick up your phone, he will have that conversation with you, he will give you a solution to your issue. Right? So that is retirement in one sense. Which means Janma Sarthaka Kari Kara Para Upakar. Baseline your life, help others. Otherwise we will never get to that point. Of course, it doesn't mean we have to help others only if everything is perfect in our life. It doesn't mean like that. I am talking about the premature retirement, ignoring our material responsibilities or duties should not be there. Being a surrendered soul. Okay, who wants to read? Okay, Jagan Prabhu, please read. Being a surrendered soul.
In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, there is the following statement about self-surrender. My dear Lord, a person who has surrendered himself unto you, who is in firm conviction that he is yours, and who actually acts in that way by his body, mind and word, can actually relish transcendental bliss. In the Narasimha Purana, Lord Narasimha says, anyone who prays unto me and takes shelter of me becomes my ward, and I protect him always from all sorts of calamities.
So we already discussed this. Please go ahead. We discussed quite a bit of surrender.
Serving trees such as Tulasi. In the Skanda Purana, there is a statement praising the Tulasi.
Okay, hang on. Sorry. My bad. Hold on. There is something which is written in Waves of Devotion. Let's read that on that surrender part, which we did discuss. So I'll read from Dhanodhar Swami's comments. There is a subtle distinction between Atma Nivedanam, surrendering everything to the Lord, and Sharanapatti, being a surrendered soul. Would you like to know further? I'll repeat. There is a subtle distinction between surrendering everything to the Lord and being a surrendered soul. Being a surrendered soul means to consider oneself completely subservient to and protected by the Lord. I'll repeat. Being surrendered or Saranapatti means to consider oneself completely subservient to and protected by the Lord. Atma Nivedana, on the other hand, which is surrendering everything to the Lord, also means self-dedication, but such dedication may or may not be accompanied by such feelings of subservience and dependence.
That is what actually we were asking on the other some time back, like Dasya Ras and Sakya Ras and the Atma Nivedanam. The Atma Nivedanam component might not have this kind of complete subservient mood of, but the Dasya Ras will
may not be accomplished, it says. May not be accomplished. Not will not be accomplished. May. So let's just understand the way it is given here. Okay, we'll delve on it a little bit more.
Yeah, and one more doubt, like is it Sharanagati and Atma Nivedanam are quite different now, which is what you are understanding here?
Yeah, so but he is using the word Sharanapatti. So, being a surrendered soul. See, Sharanagati encompasses Atma Nivedana. If you have to draw a Venn diagram, then you put Anukulesa Sankalpa, Pratikulesa Vardhana, Rakshasitisa Vishwasa, Bhoptritya Varnantata, Karpanya, etc. And then put everything and call it as the set is called as what? Sharanagati. Atma Nivedanam is one component in that. Okay. Here there is a distinction, and then Saranapatti he is talking about here. Being a surrendered soul. Okay. So I don't know where that is.
Another component probably.
Yeah. Pardon? I don't know. Maybe we can ask some Acharya. So where is Madhavan Prabhu? Car park. Where is Madhavan Prabhu? He's traveling or what? No one knows where he is. Oh, Mother is there. Where is he?
At home.
What is he doing there? Put this on camera. Madhavan Prabhu is at home.
Detached.
Okay, we can put this question to maybe Shankarchanda Sarikari. On his ultimate realization, put it to Chaitanya Charan Prabhu and he'll get all the answers from everywhere.
One of the supporting Prabhupada gives in Balima first time is, he says that Atma is surrendering everything, that means possessions. So when Balima surrenders himself to the Lord, Prabhupada writes there that the possessor is greater than the possessions. And the Prabhupada clearly writes that.
Yeah, remember this.
Even in the Thank You series, we said, the Prabhu mentions the same point, that the possessor is far greater than the possession. So Atmanivedanam is surrendering everything to the Lord, but not the self-surrender. The self-surrender comes in the last. So that's why the other point comes, another item of Bhakti is the surrendered soul. So surrendered soul is the Saranapati, who is completely
everything encompasses even the soul, right? If everything encompasses the soul as well.
But that comes in the last. So,
Okay, let's read this again. There is a subtle distinction between Atma Nivedana, surrendering everything to the Lord, and Sharanapati, being a surrendered soul. Being a surrendered soul means to consider oneself simply subservient to and protected by the Lord.
yeah.
Okay? Atma Nivedanam also means self-dedication, but such dedication may or may not be accompanied by such feelings of subservience and dependence. So Bali Maharaj was Atma Nivedana, not Sharanapati, correct? Because Bali Maharaj was not dependent on the Lord, right? But he gave everything to the Lord. Okay. So he surrendered everything he had to the Lord, but his example will not fit where we say, where he was considering himself completely subservient and protected by the Lord. That was not there. That didn't come across.
Circumstantial. Is it because circumstantial where he was, the situation that he was put in, and given that the kind of person he was, he decided to surrender that time. He didn't develop the mood, but because of his character, it ended up being there.
Correct. Whereas Prahlad Maharaj, you see his pastime, then you could say that he is considering oneself completely subservient to and protected by the Lord. So, is it getting clear? No. At least for me, it's getting a little bit clear. I don't know whether what all of you are. Pardon?
Bali Maharaj became surrendered at the end when he realized that even after 2 steps he couldn't give everything.
He may have moved from, okay, looks like he has moved from Atma Nivedanam to Sharanapati. It is later on. But at that point in time where the pastime is ending, with Bali Maharaj giving all the 3 pieces of land, everything has been taken away, then it fits here more into Atma Nivedana. It also means self-dedication, but such dedication may or may not be accompanied by such feelings of subservience and dependence. The Lord asked and He gave. But that doesn't mean, to that extent you can say subservience was there. But that is not an example of dependence on the Lord. It's not a correct example of dependence. Does it make sense? Yeah. Alright. So still we can put the question. So the question is, what is the difference between Atma Nivedana and Sharanapati is clear, no? Not clear. So what is the question we have to put?
No, we have to understand more about this difference.
We have to understand more about the difference. That's yeah. Actually, so give more and more perspectives on this. Churn that topic a little bit more. So you are going to write to who? Can you write to Chaitanya Charan Prabhu that question?
Yes,
you take responsibility. Shankarshan Sarikari, who take responsibility?
Usually it was Madhavananda Prabhu.
You write the question.
I'll write the question.
You write the question. And let's exchange. Let's bring it to the class. Those notes. Alright. What's the time?
3 minutes more.
3 minutes more. Okay. So last one. Serving trees such as Tulsi. Ojas Prabhu.
In the Skanda Purana, there is a statement praising the Tulsi tree as follows. Let me offer my respectful obeisances onto the Tulsi tree, which can immediately vanquish volumes of sinful activities. Simply by seeing or touching this tree, one can become relieved from all distresses and diseases. Simply by offering obeisances to and pouring water on the Tulsi tree, one can become freed from the fear of being sent to the court of Yamraj, the king of death who punishes the sinful. If someone sows a Tulsi tree somewhere, certainly he becomes devoted to Krishna. And when the Tulsi leaves are offered in devotion at the lotus feet of Krishna, there is full development of love of Godhead. In India, all Hindus, even those not belonging to the Vaishnava group, take special care of the Tulsi tree. Even in great cities where it is very difficult to keep a Tulsi tree, people are to be found very careful keeping this plant. They water it and offer obeisances to it. And because worship of Tulsi tree is very important in devotional service. In the Skanda Purana, there is another statement about Tulsi as follows. Tulsi is auspicious in all respects. Simply by seeing, simply by touching, simply by remembering, simply by praying to, simply by bowing before, simply by hearing about, or simply by sowing this tree, there is always auspiciousness. Anyone who comes in touch with Tulsi tree in the above mentioned ways lives eternally in the Vaikuntha world.
There is not much commentary on this. Dhanurdhar Maharaj writes, the reference quoted to substantiate this item broadens the opportunities for serving Tulsi. It is simply auspicious to see, pray to, go before, hear about or serve Tulsi. There is not much commentary on this. I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Can I answer a question? So Prabhu, when it says simply by seeing or touching this tree, one can become relieved from all distresses and disease. How do we take it? Of course, as a devotee, we touch it, we see it. We still have distresses, we still have disease. How do we take it in a practical aspect?
I have answered this before in the class also. I will repeat that. This is not only in this section, but in many sections of the scriptures, especially in Gita Mahatmya. I'm sure you are missing those stories. Yes. So there it is mentioned that if anyone reads this verse, then one immediately is liberated and goes to the spiritual world. So many promises are being made. How to understand these promises? So I was hearing a lecture by one of my godbrothers, Radha Prabhu. He just summed it up, saying, he says, sooner than you deserve, faster than you expect. Correct? Yeah, something like that. How do we understand all these promises of the scriptures? It will be much sooner than you deserve and slower than you expect. That's what he said. Sooner than we deserve, slower than we expect.
Slower than you expect.
I may expect that having done that activity, very soon you will attain Krishna Prema. So my expectation of very soon is what? Tomorrow. Or immediate. Right? But do I deserve? No. So if I deserve after 10 lifetimes, it will happen in the end of this lifetime. But it will not happen today. So sooner than you deserve, but slower than you expect. Does that answer you?
We leave it over there.
There is always an answer, Prabhu, but how much we like it, that's the difference.
One question probably before we could we do hear that we should not be touching Tulsi as such when we are doing our obeisances and all that. How can we, because we are hearing that touching the Tulsi leaves is sacred.
Yeah, touching means not touching Tulsi tree. Touching means we are taking Tulsi. We discussed that day, no? What is that? Srimad
Tulasyam Rasamati
Arhate something.
Srimad
Tulasyam Rasamam Tad Arpite.
So we saw that Maharaj Ambarish, those verses, Savai Mamikana Krishna Padaranja, in that one of the components is that also, that he is accepting the Tulsi leaf which have been offering. So to accept, you have to touch Tulsi leaf. In that sense. Or we can touch Tulsi Maharani if we have a specific service, but we cannot frivolously go on touching Tulsi Maharani. That's what. And expect that, every time, anytime you go there, just expect to not to use Tulsi Maharani like a doormat whenever we want. Not like that. But to honor her, to worship her, and then offer her to the lotus feet of the Lord, and then accept the remnants. That is what is the process. Prabhupada ki